Hey there, I'm Kara, your Christian nutrition coach from the Nourished Body and Soul. Today, I want to talk to you about mindfulness and how using mindfulness God's way is the way to find true food freedom. See, if you've been around for any amount of time, unless you've had your head down in the sand, you've probably seen posts on social media or maybe watched a YouTube video or heard people talking about how you can use willpower and mindfulness to be able to control what you're eating. And while to an extent this is true, what I want to talk to you about today is going to be controversial because I want to talk to you about the fact that there is no amount of willpower in the world that can keep you from eating the things that do harm to your body or that cause you to end up in a guilt and shame cycle of eating. And the reason I know this is true is because I've lived it. For years, I spent every day just trying to grind through and use my own willpower to be able to avoid the foods that I thought were bad for me, to be able to control the food that I was intaking in order to control my body image and my weight. And what I found at the end of it all was that I just would end up in this terrible cycle of guilt and shame every single time. And what I want to share with you today is what God showed me, His way out of that cycle. For years and years of my life, I woke up every single day feeling guilty about what I had consumed the day before. Or I would spend days on end restricting so extreme in my food that I would spend days just eating bowls of fruit for every meal. It was a ridiculous cycle that I was stuck in for years. And one morning I was reading Romans 8, and in Romans 8, it talks about how there's no condemnation for those who are in Christ and how we have the ability to walk according to the Spirit. And it was in that moment of reading that the Lord showed me that I was living my life condemned. And He said so clearly to me, "Why in the world are you living condemned when I have said you're free and you are guiltless?" And it was like a light bulb went off in my head. And it was in that moment, in that realization, that I was able to understand that the condemnation that I had felt for so many years was from the enemy. What God went on to show me in the weeks and months after that morning was that my own willpower would never be strong enough to be able to eat in a way that was healthy for my body, that glorified God with my choices, and that kept me in a healthy state so that I could continue to do the things that were important to me. See, this went so much deeper than just body image or reaching a certain weight or fitting into a certain size of clothing. For me, this was just this guilt that went on in my life every single day. And God was freeing me from it. And the way that He did that was to show me that if I am walking in the Spirit, that there is no condemnation for me. But then we have to talk about, what does walking in the Spirit actually mean? Walking in the Spirit is the fruit of the Spirit that we find in Galatians. Listed in the fruit of the Spirit is the fruit of self control. So, what that means for believers is that you have all the self control in the world that you need. And so, the way we can use that in our food choices is that we are able to stop taking the things that have become habit to us. Like, I don't feel good, and so I'm going to turn to a bag of chips to make me feel better. Or I don't feel great, I'm tired, something stressful's happened in my day, and so I'm going to eat a lot of sweets after dinner to fill the void of where I don't feel well. And so these habits and these cycles that we've created in our lives as believers, we have the self-control and the ability to break those. So it comes down to being as simple as changing our thoughts in order to change our behavior. And I know that that sounds like a mantra that the world might tell you, but because we have the guarantee that if we take our thoughts captive in Christ, that we are able to then in turn live our lives in a way that glorifies and honors Him. And what glorifies and honors Him is for us to use the fruit of the spirits that He's given us to be able to make choices that steward our bodies well. See, the world tells you that if you'll just be mindful about what you're eating, that it will help you to find food freedom. I am telling you that the world's way of mindfulness is actually just a facade for controlling things in your own power. And the other thing that the world's way of mindfulness does for us is that it basically helps us to be able to rationalize our choices. In other words, if I'm not feeling good and I decide that I'm going to binge on a chocolate cake, the world's way of mindfulness tells me that I can rationalize that, I can justify that. I haven't had a good day, things have happened in my life, and so I deserve to have that thing. Or in turn, the world's way might tell you that you have achieved something, you did something really great, and so your reward for doing that should be able to enjoy any food you want and to enjoy it in excess. But see, here's the problem with both of those things. Neither of them take into account where God falls in the picture. And as believers, we are not just going to put God in a box and only let him into the parts of our life that feel religious, into the parts of our lives that are on Sundays, or into the parts of our lives where we need him to step in and do some sort of work to change a situation for us. See, as believers, you are made up of a mind, body, and soul, and they are all integrated into one. And there is no way that you can separate those. And so, therefore, when we're making decisions for any part of us, our mind, our body, or our soul, we need to bring God into the equation and we need to ask him where we need to yield our own desires and our own will to him and to the power and self control that he's given us. And so, if you've ever struggled with binge eating, with too much restricting, with just even overeating an item, I want to help you find freedom in that. I want to help you see that there is no condemnation for you, that any condemnation you feel or you hear in your own mind is from the enemy. God offers us complete freedom. And when we use his tools and his way of doing food and his way of stewarding our body, we actually get the freedom to eat anything we want, anytime we want. But the thing is, with that, there is a level of discipline that comes under that level of grace. So we have full grace to be able to do what we want to do. God gives us the freedom to choose, but there is no grace without discipline. What that means is like you can't live a life without doing the things that keep you well, and discipline is what keeps us well. I mean, think about the fact that if you decided one day you no longer wanted to brush your teeth, brushing your teeth is a discipline. It's something you do on a regular basis to keep your teeth healthy and well. But if you just decide that you're no longer going to have any discipline whatsoever around food choices or around what you do with your body or your movement or exercise, then eventually those things are just going to consume you and take over and reduce the level of health that you can experience. And so, what I want you to hear me saying is that the freedom that is found in Christ allows us to be free from guilt, allows us to be free from condemnation and shame, and allows us to enjoy food, our life, our bodies. Everything that God has given us to enjoy is found in the discipline of yielding our own will to his way of self control. And so, practically, what that looks like in real everyday life is when you're in a situation, whether it be a social gathering, whether it be you had a hard day and you find yourself craving something that you know isn't going to make you feel good, or maybe you're tired and your body is just like wanting carbs in order to keep it going and fuel it. What I want you to hear is that there are practical tools that you can use in order to find freedom in those situations. And so, first, just pause and pray and ask the Lord, is this right for me now in this moment? Is this something I really need? And then, second, reconnect to your why. Why do you want to be healthy? Is it because you want to be able to run and play with your kids? Is it because you need to be able to serve your community around you? Is it because you need to be a caretaker for someone in your life? What is your reason? And I just want to give a second thought on that. Your reason needs to be something that is serving and loving outside of yourself. Yes, it is super important to take care of yourself, to feel good for yourself, but a why needs to be something bigger than just you. And then lastly, ask God how He wants you to steward your food well, how He wants you to make choices well. The habits that we've created in our lives are very powerful. But what I want you to hear me say is that God is more powerful than the habits and mindlessness that we've used up to this point. His way of mindfulness, His way of discipline, and His way of self control can free you from everything that you've been experiencing in the binge, shame, and guilt cycle of your life. And so I want you to enter into this holiday season, into social gatherings, and into every day with the freedom that is available to you through His Word. That's why I've created God's Undiet. It is a 40-day plan that walks you through exactly how to find that freedom and how to continue living in that freedom. It's a plan that has helped many women be able to find a healthy weight and to be able to sustain a healthy weight in their lives without following a diet plan or diet rules. If you feel like this is something you would benefit from, reach out. I put my contact information down below and a link for you to find out more about God's Undiet. Remember, friend, there is no condemnation in the Lord, and you do have the ability to walk fully in food freedom today.